Hello friends, let me take you on this journey, this 365-day journey. And we will not be starting in the end of this tank nor in the beginning. We'll start here when the tank is 10 months old. And why we start here is because probably it is here that I am calling this tank a success. Not 100% success, as I am battling hair allergies for the second time in the tank. First time I beat them with hermit crabs, but mysteriously, second time, the same trick didn't bite. Why I like the tank the most here is just on the size of the coral colonies and not overcrowded with corals and not too few. But yeah, let's take it back to the beginning, where it all started. Now we're back at the beginning, and the tank is almost a week old by now, and you will recognize the fish and some of the corals, but the layout is, and also the rock actually, but the layout is different. And the starting point of this tank was I found the Nano Reef back 250, and I figured that this is going to be a very scalable filtration system that I can grow, but turned out that in the end I wasn't happy, so I rebuilt the tank for an all-in-one aquarium with circulation pump and skimmer, and without the reactor, which is presently on the right. And in between that one I actually did try to put both at the left side. Let's go and have a look. Okay, won't be long here. This is 2 months in on the tank, and you see that there's a lot of new corals. But why we stop here is that the Nano Reef pack, I moved it and tried it to the left because I wasn't happy in the last configuration we were looking at, as the surface film of proteins or fat wasn't removed by the skimmer, but it was sucked up and removed by the reactor. So to keep clear surface, I moved them to the left to see if that would work better, but it turned out it didn't work better. Here you see that I for a short while had a variable Tunse wave pump, but if we go back to the beginning of the movie, I finally went with an Aquamedic, which I was more happy about. And also you see here, it's the automatic top-off unit of Tunse, one of the safety valves here up in the left, and that one was also replaced by a B&D, which was a little bit smaller. Now, I would like to jump the furthest step back to actually where we started with rock and where I could make such an aggressive start of this tank. Let's jump back to the predate of this tank. Here is actually the starting point of the tank, and that was a 30-liter tank. Nano kept 54, but in this 30-liter tank, yeah, that was how I got back to the hobby, as a fellow reefer was quitting or getting out, and I did see that he was selling out this small tank, and I went and bought it. Everything except the 4 cranky LPS in the front. Yeah, my assessment was that the tank or the rock would look relatively healthy. I did see some of the corals, and in particular zoanthids, which you could see on the top right. They were starving in the tank, but the fish were healthy, so that probably made that the rock was healthy, and except of vermitides, which I'm still battling from these rocks, there were no Aiptasia or any other pests. So yeah, healthy fish, and he was able to get the mushrooms to survive. Yeah, let's go with this to get back in the hobby. And these rocks is what you see going into the new tank as well. But let's jump to the very end of this tank before it was time to disassemble. Okay, now we're back in the end. Now the tank is 12 months in. Well, comparing to the beginning of this video where we were 10 months in, you do see that there's still some green hair algae on the rock. But now it's pure green hair algae. Previously it was green and brown hair algae. Here, 12 months in, I have decided to go for another tank. Yeah, by the way, have a look at the coloration. Now I think the tank was very stable, corals were doing good and fish were doing fantastic. Also the rock had a really good coloration, but it was time to make a bigger tank, go for a bigger system. So this tank was reaching end of this line, and that's why I've started collecting or piling up corals. You see acants to the right, and there's a Ophilia in the middle, and also here very shortly there is a fox face to the left. That and that fox face, yeah, I was trying to have the fox face go for the hair algae before closing this tank, not giving up. Actually, the hair algae survived this tank, but in the next tank, that one kept tanks, and they had fixed the issue of the hair algae in less than a week. Yeah, no, this was a good journey, but the glass and the filtration I'll keep, and we will revisit it in a YouTube movie a little bit later on how that comes to play a new role with new rocks and new inhabitants. When I made this tank with a bare bottom, it was mainly for the sake of having an easy setup, easy cleaning without messing around a lot of sand. That was the reasoning. But as we will see in a near future, when we revisit this tank, it's gonna keep sand on the bottom. So then I go for full sand. With that said, yeah, this was the end of the 365-day journey, and thank you for your attention. Wish you a pleasant evening or a good day. Bye bye.